What's good? It's your boy, the AD from the AD Project. So as an athletic director, one of the main concerns we have that we share with all parents is, when is it the appropriate time to discuss concerns a parent may have with their child's, with the treatment of their child, or the playtime of their child, or anything that they would want to bring to the coach and then possibly to the athletic director. So this happens quite frequently in the realm of athletics, high school athletics. And so I wanted to definitely touch on this topic because it happens all the time, everywhere. Parents, I'm a parent, so I'm gonna talk first from the parent perspective, right? When I go to my son's soccer game, my oldest son plays soccer, my daughter plays volleyball, or I go to my daughter's volleyball game, and I see things that I don't like, that I don't quite think are fair, or I don't quite think is a good treatment for maybe my daughter or for my son, because we all get that way. We're watching the game, we're wondering, why isn't she getting in? Why isn't he getting in? Why are they making those calls? That's fair, because we all do those things. But understand this as a parent, and I have to understand this, and I have to tell myself, even as an athletic director, you may not know why the coach is making a specific call, or taking a kid, putting a kid in or taking a kid out, just due to the fact that all sports are strategic, and they make moves based off of what's going on in the game. And my hope is that if I'm very concerned about it, and it's something that I feel like I need to bring to the coach, or the coach is at that time, that I take the time not to do it before the game, during the game, ever during the game, or right after the game. And here's the reason why. Before the game, coaches and student athletes should be preparing for the game at hand. They should be thinking about nothing but that. And it is a very selfish thing as a parent to go talk to a coach before the game to try to talk about concerns you may have. If someone came to you at your job and had a concern about something you were doing in the moment where you really needed to be engaged in your job, it would really mess you up, and that wouldn't be fair. So understand, it is not fair to your child, the coach, or the team to talk to them before the game. It is never acceptable to take time out during the game, whether it's at halftime or at a timeout, to ever talk to the coach at that moment if you are frustrated. And then right after a game, whether they win or they lose, it's inappropriate to talk to them at that moment also. Imagine if you just took a hard loss and you were a coach or you were a player, and a parent came up to you to want to talk about some concerns. You really wouldn't be in the mindset to be able to answer the questions at hand and get the information out the way it needs to be gotten out, or it needs to be shared. I apologize for that vernacular. So make sure that that doesn't happen if you're a parent. I completely understand concerns. I have them at times, and I've wanted to be able to talk to the coach, but I know as an athletic director that it's not fair to be able to do that at that moment. So what you do is, we ask that you take 24 hours from the time that the game got done, and then you schedule time to meet with the coach. And that way, when you schedule that time to talk about whatever concerns you might have, you can then break down the concerns you have. You can bring them to that coach, and hopefully that coach should have reasoning to be able to discuss with you why whatever happened, or be able to clarify whatever concerns you may have. And that's fair to everyone, because no one's in the heat of the moment. What we find as athletic directors is that parents that come up to coaches during the game, after the game, before the game, all that does is create animosity between the two. No one's listening. You're just fussing, right? You're arguing with one another. You're just trying to get your point across. The coaches are trying to just get to the game, or they just took a tough loss, so nothing's going to get taken care of at that moment anyway. So suck it up as a parent, like I've had to do. And when you have those concerns, you schedule a time to meet with the not the athletic director just yet, we're going to get on that, but to meet with the coach, and you discuss the concerns at that moment. Now, a good coach should be able to explain everything that's happened. If it's a concern about playing time, not getting enough playing time, any kind of concern that you might have for your kid, number one, I would even go a step further and tell your kid to advocate for themselves. I always tell my son and my daughter, if you feel a certain way, go talk to the coach first. It is their responsibility to say, hey, coach, I'm not getting in or getting as much playing time as I would like. So what can I do to get better? What do you think I need to work on? Am I practicing hard enough? Am I not getting it? It's important they advocate for themselves, not for any other reason. Then they're going to be adults soon, and they'll have to advocate for themselves in their job at some point in their life. We are teaching life lessons here. We're not just all trying to get every kid to become a professional athlete, right? So number one, tell your kid to advocate for themselves. Go meet with coach, sit down with coach, and say, here are my concerns. Once that happens, then your kid can come back and talk to you and say, this is what coach told me. And if you don't feel like that's a good enough reason, then as a parent, you schedule some time to meet with coach. And then you get the information because maybe your child didn't ask the right questions at that time. And so coach answered it the way that it was given to that coach. And the kid brings it back to you because I have a 17-year-old, and what coach might say to him or his teachers might say to him comes back differently to me, right? So I have to understand, because when I talk to my kid, it comes back weird to me. We have kids and we understand how that works, right? So back to the conversation of making sure that at that moment, if your kid tells you something, you don't quite understand it or you don't agree with it, schedule time to meet with the coach. Make sure that you have your questions and your concerns clearly stated out, and meet with that coach and then try to get that handled. Now, if everything fails and you meet with coach and coach just, I don't understand that, it doesn't make any sense to me and I don't agree with it, then you can contact the athletic director, right? You reach out to the athletic director. I met with coach. My son and daughter met with coach. We just don't quite get it, and we still don't feel that it's fair, right? And then the athletic director will schedule time to meet with everyone. I'll go meet with my coach. Here was the concerns of this parent. Please explain to me what you explained to them so that I can understand. And that way, maybe the information that comes to the athletic director can be then at that meeting when everyone comes together, delivered in a way that maybe the parents understand that. Once you've all met, the athletic director, the coach, and the concerned parent, you will come to an agreement, or maybe you won't. Sometimes you just have to understand that the coach is coaching their particular way. You may not like it because that's just a life lesson, that you don't always like what's going on, but you teach your son or daughter how to work through that. But the coaches should have at least some sort of understanding of why they're doing something and be able to articulate that back to the athletic director, to the student, and back to the parent correctly. So it looks like I'm darn near 9 minutes into this, and I just wanted to share that information because it's something that athletic directors deal with all the time. Parents who are concerned about their students' playtime or the treatment of their student athlete and their child, and they don't know exactly how to handle going and speaking with the athletic director or the coach. So just to recap, number one, if you have concerns for your child and their athletics, number one, don't do it during, before, or after the game. Wait 24 hours. Number two, have your kid advocate for themselves and speak to the coach first and get the information, and then have it come back to you. Number three, if you don't like the information, set up a time to meet with coach and talk to the coach and get the information for yourself. Then the fourth thing, put that over there. The fourth thing is to meet with the athletic director and see if you guys can all come up with an understanding. Okay? This is the AD speaking about the stuff we deal with in high school athletics. AD out.